Hey guys, so here we are with our freshly rebuilt, well, top end rebuilt anyway, Husqvarna 272XP chainsaw. I was able to actually find, I believe it's a 28-inch bar for it in my stash of stuff that I had lying around. They're really nice chain, so this thing's going to be ready to rock some wood as soon as the carb's set here. With two-stroke, I guess, as well as four-stroke equipment, or any motor for that fact, when it's new or you've gone and done some repairs where you've replaced part of the engine, like this job where I replaced the top half of the engine, you always want to break the saw or break the machine in, be it a chainsaw, leaf blower, weed eater, any piece of equipment. You never want to put gas in one of these when they're new or have new vital components in them and fire it up and put it to work right away. You'll take a ton of life out of the machine. It's best to get one of these things running when it's new or when it has new components in it and let it sit and run for 5 minutes at least to warm up uniformly. Let the piston warm up, the ring, the cylinder, the bottom end, the bearings. Let everything warm up gradually, nice and slowly together, and that way when you go to use the thing, you're not going to have a bunch of parts of it being extra hot and other parts being cool. They're not going to want to work together just right. So I recommend when they're new, for the first few uses, fire them up, let them sit on the ground and run for a few minutes to get nice and hot, then put them to work. After, an hour of use or an hour and a half of use, probably okay to fire it up and go right to work. I wouldn't recommend that with a chainsaw though. I like to let my chainsaws warm up to operating temperature before I use them, just like starting your car. So what I'm going to do now is explain really briefly how to attack the carburetor on one of these. It's very important that you set the carburetor up properly or you'll destroy all of the work that you just went and did. If it's a machine that you've owned for a long time and you've never mucked with the carburetor, you're probably safe to go ahead and use the current settings that are the machine's set to. But if it's a new machine to you or someone's gone and fiddled with it, you always got to set these carburetors to default before you start running the machine. The best way to do that is to get yourself a nice slim extended slotted screwdriver. I ground this one down a little bit. I don't know if you can really see that, but it's a really nice small little 1/8 by 3-inch driver. And you'll find two set screws on the carburetor. There'll be an L and an H. And what you want to do is take both those set screws and turn them in until they stop turning. Now, don't go cranking on them. Very gently turn them in. So once you feel it grabbing, turn it in, and it stopped right there. Now what we want to do is back this out 1 1/2 turns. There's a half turn, there's 1 turn, and a half turn. That's usually a safe point to start with these saws. Any saw, any piece of equipment for that matter. Now, you also want to do the same thing for the high mixture, which is usually right next to it, below. Again, get that screwdriver down inside, turn that thing all the way in until it stops. Don't crank on it. Once it stops, stop. And again, back it out 1 1/2 turns. There's a half, there's 1 and 1/2. Usually that will make these things run and you'll be able to make your finer adjustments once the machine's warmed up. So what I'm going to do now is fire this thing up. I'm going to quickly adjust the low carb mixture screw to a very rich setting. Since this thing's new, I want to make sure that there's a lot of two-stroke oil going through the motor. It's probably going to smoke a bit. It's going to stink. I'm in a room here that I can turn an extraction fan on. I'm going to leave the saw idle on the ground for about 5 minutes. I'll put a link in the video that you can skip this part and we'll get right to the good stuff where I adjust and set the carburetor up for use. So I'm going to try and fire it now, and once she fires up, I'll be back in a few minutes. Just let her warm up and break in. So that about does it.